Or do you need 8?
No, 6.
6 is good. Okay.
Start.
We have 7.
And by the way, you two look like skaters.
Because we know,
Their
because we know they
faces,
skate.
I have
they just
a
look
friend
like skaters.
who lives in
Yeah.
North Salem, very talented.
Very
Yeah,
talented.
she's an artist and she does this and she puts a little wax
Was this
finish
your,
over it.
was this your, vision though?
Yeah.
You wanna
It's
stand
supposed
like,
to feel like you're in the lake.
Because you have to
It's
watch.
not the lake.
I do. I
Yeah.
feel like,
Ready?
okay. So when you hear the word synchronized skating, what do you think of? Well, a lot of people tend to think of seeing girls jumping, spinning, doing tricks on the ice. Some people even ask, well, is it like synchronized swimming? Well, not really. So, I've been synchronized skating since I was in 3rd grade, which makes this my 10th year as a synchronized skater. Synchronized skating is an athletic competitive sport and hopefully an up-and-coming Olympic sport. And over the years, it's become even more competitive and has become a lot more difficult than it was in the beginning. So what is synchronized skating? Synchronized skating is a up and growing discipline of figure skating. It consists of 8 to 20 girls on a team who all skate on the ice at the same time to a program. The program is it's a choreographed program set to music, and in this program there's specific formations and step sequences that have to be done to get points. The difficulty of the step sequences and the formations depend on the level of the team, and there's 14 different levels of synchronized skating teams. So now that we have a basic understanding of what a synchronized skating team is, we can look at how it started. Synchronized skating started in 1956, and at that point in time, it was called precision skating. And in North America, it was called precision skating because of the emphasis on how precise the formations and timing had to be within the groups. When it first started, synchronized skating was all about the performance. It was very similar to a professional dance performance or a group similar to that. It was a lot slower pace, and it wasn't as competitive as it is now. The first synchronized skating team was founded by Dr. Richard Porter in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the team was called the Hawkettes. The Hawkettes performed for and entertained for spectators of the hockey games during intermissions of the University of Michigan Wolverines hockey team. So now that we know how it started, we can look at where synchronized skating has gone and how much it has picked up and how competitive and how athletic it's become. In 1970, the sport really took off. It had a huge increase in number of people joining the sport and the number of teams that began to grow. The sport went from being a slow performance to a very high energy competitive level. As the years passed, teams continued to introduce new difficulty, new formations at a higher speed, with a new style, and with a greater agility. It also increased in the competitiveness by adding international competitions. So now teams will travel internationally to represent their country and to compete to see who really is the highest. The first international competition was held in the United States in Michigan of March 1976. This was held between the US and the Canadian teams. The international competitions not only brought a higher level of competition, but it increased the demand for even more energy unique style and a higher discipline of elements in the program. It also started highlighting jumps and spins and spirals and like group a higher difficulty. So it added lifts, which were illegal to the sport when it first started, and it added these into the program, giving each program something different so a team can stand out. So now we've learned what synchronized skating is, how it started, and how far it has come through the years. So next time someone asks you, well, what do you think synchronized skating is? You can answer with more than, well, is it like this, or it's something like this. You can say, you'll be able to answer with a basic understanding of what synchronized skating is. Over the years, I've watched and participated in the growth of synchronized skating, and I'm excited to see how far it will really go. Good job. Does anybody have any questions?
What's synchronized skating again?
How many judges does it usually take to judge a
For
program?
the lower levels, there are 4 to 6 judges, and for the higher levels, the top 2 or 3 levels, they have technical penalty, which judge how well somebody does the element, so they'll have at least 2 of those, and they have 4 judges who judge how well you skated, just like any other team did. And they have a caller, and they have, there ends up to be about 7 judges between all the different things they judge.
What's a caller?
You can do the elements, but if you don't do it to a specific level, you won't get the full point value for it. So they call whether or not you can have, where your starting value for your elements is.
Is that where get it called? Is that where that term comes from?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you get interested in synchronized skating?
I started freestyle skating, and the club I was originally at in Wisconsin, they had a synchronized skating team, and that was like the big thing around there was synchro skating, and so I joined.
That was after the pool froze, correct?
In the 10 years that you've been involved, what is the biggest change that you see in synchronized skating?
The biggest change I see is where it's going. You watch teams, and when I first started, freestyle moves like jumps and spins weren't a big thing. Like a few teams did it, but it wasn't common because it's something hard to get right every single time. And now there's teams doing an axle, with half the team doing axles in their program. So that's a big difference.
So it's become more athletic.
Yeah.
And competitive.
Thank you.
Well, you did a
Thank
great
you so
job.
much.
Really good job.
And then I have my visual aids are videos.
Can we see you skating?
Yeah.
Oh my
They're
God.
videos.
Hey!